And there they go. Here we are again, back together once more, and it is a rather sunny day. We have wind, we have sunshine, we also have lots of pollen, which is making me sneeze quite a lot. Hi, hello everyone. Here we go, we are live today. It is free and open. Say whatever you want. We are, of course, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which is, of course, England.
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat. Learn together and have fun.
Here we go again.
Well, yes.
Of course. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. That's me, by the way. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. You know what I normally say at this point by now. And I hope you are having a good day where you are. I hope you are not too hot or not too cold. It is a nice day here. We had such a lovely time yesterday. Mr. Steve and myself, well, first of all, I went to see Steve performing on stage. He was performing in a play. In fact, it was 3 plays, different excerpts from certain plays by Gilbert and Sullivan. And I have to say, it was a rather interesting time. There you can see the shows that were on. So these were actually excerpts from shows written, operettas. You might actually describe them as operettas by Gilbert and Sullivan. And they are very famous operettas. And yesterday I went to see Mr. Steve, who was performing in this particular selection of shows. There. The crowd waiting eagerly. There's nearly 100 people there yesterday. Almost the same number of people that were outside the White House yesterday. Almost the same number of people. Who cares? It's the last show. So a lot of people were there yesterday, and Mr. Steve was on the stage. There he is. Mr. Steve is the one on the left. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, which one is Mr. Steve? They look the same, but they're not the same. One is Mr. Steve, and he is the one on the left with the big moustache, having lots of fun in the show. And I have to say, it was very enjoyable. The audience loved it. And the best thing about yesterday is that we were all in a nice, cool hall. There was air conditioning on and everyone was having a rather nice time. So Mr. Steve, who is on the left, enjoys acting. For those who don't realise, Steve is my partner in crime, and he is the one walking around now with the big moustache. For those wondering, no, the moustache is not real. It isn't a real moustache. If you are wondering whether or not it is a real moustache, I can tell you now that it is not a real moustache. It is one of those ones that sticks on your face. I also took some photographs yesterday. Here is Mr. Steve in a very dramatic moment. They are having a confrontation. In fact, it's a very interesting story because it involves something we call a farce. Farce is a very interesting word, a type of play where things happen that wouldn't normally happen in real life. So this particular play is a farce. Something that is a farce is exaggerated, or something that would not normally happen in life. So that's what we did yesterday. We went to, Mr. Steve was performing very busily on the stage, and I was sitting being entertained in the audience. Also last night we went for a lovely curry in a place called Bridgnorth. which is not very far away from here, but it is the most amazing place. Very scenic. Lots of lovely things to see. You might describe Bridgnorth as historical. It has lots of old buildings, including this wonderful old church, which is around 700 years old. Really old, in fact, almost as old as me. And we had a look around last night because the weather was so gorgeous. We decided to walk around, and there is a beautiful picture giving you an idea of what Bridgnorth is like. In fact, it is actually 2 towns. There is a low town, which is, as the name suggests, low down, and also a high town, which is where we were yesterday. Lots of things to look at. Wonderful old buildings. Some of these buildings date back 500 or 600 years old. Now that might sound like a long time, but I will say one thing. It isn't very long. 500 years is not very long. The average human being lives for around about 70 years. So when you think about it, 500 years isn't actually that long. In fact, it's a very short period of time. To get up and down from the high town to the low town, you can use these old steps. Look at these steps. I can say now we walked down and then back up these steps last night. And I can tell you now they are as tiring as they look. They really are, but also magnificent to look at. But if you don't want to walk, you can always take the wonderful tram that goes down from the top to the bottom. This is a certain type of railway that is able to run down the edge of a cliff. As the name suggests, this is the Cliff Railway, and this runs down the side of the hill from the top to the bottom, although where we were there yesterday, it wasn't operating, it wasn't actually running. To give you an idea of just how high up we were, well, of course, I'm going to give you a view from the top. So this is the view that you get from the top of the high town, looking down across the landscape. You can see down there, the river that you can see is the River Severn, which happens to be the longest river in England. It is a very long river. It stretches right across England. And there you can see the bridge going across, and that is looking down towards the conurbation and also the low town of Bridgnorth. So there is quite a lot to see in this particular place. There is even a castle in Bridgnorth. The only problem is there isn't much of it left. There is not much of it left. It's almost gone, in fact. Lots of interesting things to see, including this particular thing. Look at that. Someone has decided to decorate the top of the local post box with some very interesting items, things they have created themselves. And this is something that happens across England. Many post boxes are decorated with different types of craft. And there you can see a very good example of it. Lots of old buildings in Bridgnorth, including the old town hall, which actually sits above this particular area. Now, this area you are looking at now is the farmer's market. Not anymore, but it used to be the farmer's market. I think sometimes they still have the farmer's market there, but not as often as they used to. And I will give you another view of this building. So there it is. The town hall, looking rather... what's the word I'm looking for? It is looking a little run down. I think this particular building needs some work doing on it. It needs some renovation. I know the feeling, to be honest with you. And finally, one last view, looking down from Bridge North, High Town, to the Low Town. And there you can see the River Severn going off into the distance. So I thought today I would give you a final chance to have a look at something that, well, we can visit very easily around here. In fact, I often say that it is very easy to forget the places that you live close to. Don't you find that? Sometimes you can be living in a beautiful area and there are lots of nice things around, but you never go to see them, even though they are almost literally on your doorstep. They are right in front of you. So that's what we did yesterday. Of course, a lot of people today are talking about football. Not only that, they are also talking about tennis as well, which might be a little bit awkward because tennis is taking place and also football as well at the same time. So we have tennis and football taking place today. So I thought I would show both of them. Both of my videos at the same time. So then we can stop talking about it because everyone is talking about football at the moment. And I suppose there is a good reason, certainly in this country, because a lot of people are looking forward to the match later on today. Or should I say tomorrow morning? Although I think now they have actually moved it forward. So it was going to be much later, but now they've moved the time forward. So I think it is actually 7 p.m. UK time. The match actually starts. A lot of people seem to think that England will not win because Mexico are playing in their own stadium. And apparently they have never lost a match in that stadium. We will find out what happens later on. A lot of people going football crazy. Hello to the live chat. Nice to see you here. Yes, as I mentioned earlier on my Facebook page, and also I did kind of mention it earlier as well on here. This is the last English Addict live stream for a while. So this is the final one today, the last one. Make the most of my live presence because next Sunday I won't be here, and the Sunday after that, and the Sunday after that. In fact, quite a few Sundays I will not be here. So make the most of it. Today we are looking at some interesting words and phrases of the English language, because of course I like English very much. Nothing has changed there. Here is an interesting word that we often use when we are talking about something that is being advertised, something that is being promoted. The word is gimmick. Gimmick. It is a noun, something designed to add extra attention. And at the moment, I would say, many people who are on the internet doing this sort of thing will often have a gimmick, something they do to get attention. Because these days, it is much harder to be noticed on social media, including here on YouTube. So lots of people have gimmicks. They have little things that they do. Maybe some people have a certain type of clothing they wear. Maybe they appear in a certain place, or maybe their general appearance is their own gimmick. However, these days, because of the internet, because there are millions and millions of people on the internet, it is much harder than before to actually get attention, for people to actually find you. And then when they do find you, they become bored very quickly. And this is something I found recently doing this. There are so many people now on here, younger people, sexy people, talented people, people who might have a nice warm personality. Maybe they are not irritating. Maybe they are normal. Maybe they are heterosexual. And you prefer to watch that instead of some weird gay guy. That sort of thing, you see? So it is a lot harder these days to be noticed. And quite often people will instantly hate you or dislike you for a certain reason. Unless you are young or good looking or normal. A thing used to attract the attention of others. It is used in marketing and advertising. We need a gimmick to sell this product. If you try to sell something, quite often you will need a gimmick, something to get people's attention. We might describe a gimmick as a marketing ploy. If you are trying to sell something, if you are trying to market something to other people for them to buy or even watch, sometimes you do need a gimmick, something to get their attention. For example, an eye-catching design or a thing added to create discussion or extra attention. You do something to draw people towards you. Of course, that is the easy part. The hard part is keeping them with you. That is the big problem. So if you go onto many websites now, including YouTube, you will find most videos are only a few seconds long, maybe 20 or 30 seconds. And that's it. That's the video. That's the content. And that's what people want nowadays. More people want instant pleasure, instant satisfaction. So that is the reason why short videos, short content has become more popular, because people don't want to sit and watch things for more than a minute. They become bored very easily. A thing designed to distract or mislead can be a gimmick. A magician might use a gimmick to distract the audience whilst he is performing his act on the stage. Sometimes gimmicks are used in marketing or in advertising. It does happen quite often. The gimmick can be the person or the thing they say. One thing I've noticed on social media, especially on TikTok, because I have started putting things on TikTok without much success, unfortunately, for the same reason I mentioned earlier. There's lots of young people, attractive people, dynamic people, even people using their own disabilities, even using their own children as a gimmick on TikTok. It's a very crazy place, TikTok. One of the reasons why I've always loved being here on YouTube is that there is a wide variety of content. But even here on this channel, on this actual YouTube platform, things have changed. There is a lot of short form videos. Live streams are normally related to young people or gaming. You see? So things are very difficult. And for an old person like me, well, you can probably imagine the rest. Today we are looking at another interesting word as well. Enemy. Do you have a person in your life who is your enemy? A person who you would say is against you in some way? We all have someone in our lives who is an enemy, or who we would describe as an enemy. Very nice. English Addict is here. Hello to the live chat. Who was first? Beatrice, you were first today. Well done, Beatrice. Nice to see you here as well. Also, we have, oh yes, of course, we have the one, the only, Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here with us as well. Vitas is here. Of course, when you think about all the live streams I've done, Vitas was quite often the first person on the live chat. So congratulations for all of those moments when you were first joining me here on the live stream. Maria is here. Hello, Maria. Nice to see you here. Also, it is Claudia. Hello, Claudia. Today I am going to have lunch with my brother. I am cooking lemon pie. That sounds very nice. And I am just beating up the eggs. Why are you beating up the eggs? What have they done to you? What have they ever done to you? Why are you beating up those eggs? Those poor little eggs. Also, Palmyra is here as well. A lot of people asking about the weather. Yes, it has been hot. We've had a lot of hot weather over the past few days, and then we had some cool weather. But next week, once again, it is going to get hot. Apparently here in Much Wenlock, it is going to get as high as 30 degrees next week. So Mr. Steve and myself, we've decided to jump in the car next week and go off and do some exploring whilst the weather is still nice, whilst we still have the chance, whilst we still have our health. And that is the thing that is the most valuable thing of all. Hello, the gentle gastronome. Nice to see you here as well. Welcome, English Addict. We are going off today for a while. So I hope you enjoy today's live stream, because there won't be many more at all. Irene is here. Hello, Irene. Nice to see you here as well. Very nice to have so many people joining us. We will take a quick break, and then we have today's main subject, talking about people who might be against you, your enemies. People or things or words and phrases connected to all of those actual things. Today's subject is coming up very soon. Some lovely memories there.
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat. Learn together and have fun.
It is Sunday. It's English Addict, and I am really hoping to go back to Paris soon and spend some more time there. A beautiful city, big city, lots of places to see, lots of delicious food to eat. So I'm really looking forward to reacquainting myself very soon with the joys of Paris. Very nice. English Addict is with you, and yes, we have a topic, we have a subject to talk about. I've received some complaints. Can you believe it? Some people asking, Mr. Duncan, why do you always have adverts and commercials? Why do you always have commercials and adverts on your live stream? Well, the reason is so it can go ahead and actually happen. So today you may notice there are no commercials or ads today. Nothing, no ads to spoil your enjoyment. Which is mainly the reason why I'm not here next week, or probably for a while. English Addict is with you. I hope you are having a super duper day today. I am okay. Surviving, just about. I'm sure everyone is feeling the same way. Here is an interesting word. The word enemy. Do you have an enemy? Enemy, words and phrases. That's what we are looking at for the rest of today's live stream. The word enemy is a noun that means an opponent. Normally, in battle, if you are fighting, then you are in battle. Normally you fight with someone who is your enemy. So an enemy can be someone you dislike or someone you wish to fight with. That is the reason why enemies quite often will go into battle against each other. An opposing person or group seen as threatening or hostile. Some interesting words there. Someone who is hostile. Someone who is hostile is a person who is against you. Normally, in some sort of way, they will do something towards you that is seen as hostile. Perhaps an attack, perhaps something that is done against you. Sometimes because there is a certain reason for it happening. Other times, of course, it can be just because of hate. Let's face it, in the world at the moment, there is a lot of hate around, and I'm sure all of us have experienced it at some point, maybe even recently. In war, the opposition is referred to as the enemy. The enemy is the opponent. We call the person who is against you, or the group against you, the opponent. Maybe if you have a certain opinion, you will have an opponent, a person who is against that particular opinion. Again, it happens quite often. Even now, there has always been hate. Always. The opponent poses a threat. They are seen as the enemy. A person who is seen as your enemy is the person who is seen as against you. Maybe they dislike you for a certain reason. Also, the prefix enemy is placed before anything connected to the opponent. So you might put the word enemy in front of another word to show that that person is your enemy. Perhaps a place where your enemy is, the enemy base, enemy lines. The line that begins the area where your enemy is. The enemy line. During war, quite often there will be a line of people coming towards another line of people. That is how battles are often carried out. So we often describe the enemy line as the group coming towards you who are literally your enemy. Then we have enemy weapons, of course, the weapons used by your enemy. Enemy soldiers, the people coming towards you, marching towards you. They are your enemy. They are coming towards you. The word foe might also be used as well. Foe is an interesting word. The word foe is used to describe the person who is against you. Your enemy is your foe. The people you are fighting against is your foe. The word foe might be used to mean enemy in the singular sense. So quite often a person who is fighting you directly can be described as your foe. They are fighting or battling with you directly. One single enemy. You can have one threat. So your enemy is a threat. They are someone who is against you, which means that in the future they might do something against you personally. A dangerous thing can also be an enemy, your enemy. Maybe if you live in a certain type of dwelling or house that is damp and cold, the enemy is the environment around you, the thing that is against you, the thing that might cause you to feel cold or unwell or become very sick, can also be described as the enemy. We might use the word enemy to refer to a rival or competitor. So maybe another business, maybe another group, a company that is your rival might be seen as the competitor, the person who is doing the same thing as you. They are competing. You might describe them as your enemy. They are working against you because they want to do the same thing. In a joking way, we might refer to an opponent in business as the enemy, sometimes as a joke. So we don't mean they are the enemy. We are using it as a joke, in a joking way. Two companies might have rivalry between them. They are both opposing each other because they are trying to do the same thing. But maybe just as a joke, they will describe each other as the enemy, even though they are not actually fighting against each other. In battle, the enemy is marching against you. They are coming towards you. The enemy is the opponent. Anything that is coming towards you in response might be described as the enemy, especially if their actions are hostile or violent. They can also be described as your adversary. An adversary is the person who is against you. The enemy is often described as an opponent, a rival, an attacker, a competitor, or the opposition. The force that is pushing against you is seen as the opposition. They might also be described as the enemy as well. Groups at war generally are described as enemies. So two groups fighting with each other are enemies. They both dislike each other as much as the other one. They hate those people and those people hate them. They are sworn enemies. We often see this in literature. You describe two groups of people as sworn enemies. This means that at some point you have both decided that you will always be enemies, always. And that is the reason why we use the word sworn enemies, because you have made a vow to be enemies with each other. Enemies can be rivals, as in not physically hostile. So this is something I mentioned earlier. Someone can be against you, but they are not violent. They are not physically hostile, even though they are your enemy. They are your rival. If you have a brand or a company or a product and someone else is doing a very similar thing, they can be described as your rival. The phrase, and there are some interesting phrases that use the word enemy. For example, enemy of the people. A person might be described as an enemy of the people. A dangerous presence in society. The presence, of course, is the actual occurrence of that thing in the form of maybe a person or a point of view or an opinion. It is seen as being against what society wants. The enemy of the people might be a terrorist, a person who wants to spread rumours about someone else. A dangerous presence in society can be described as an enemy of the people. Political opponents might describe each other as enemies of society or enemies of the state. Then we have another phrase. This is an interesting phrase, quite often not literal. So this is used quite often figuratively. Sleeping with the enemy. The term for a person who is marked as a traitor. So that person is involved with the enemy, even though they are apparently on your side. So someone who is with you, but they are also having contact with the enemy. We can say they are sleeping with the enemy. Sometimes literally, and sometimes figuratively. That is quite often how we use that particular phrase. The phrase, the enemy within, can also be a hidden danger, something that exists in society, for example. The enemy within. Extremism, a group of people who want to do bad things to others, might be seen as the enemy within. Maybe the enemy within a government or the enemy within a certain society can be a hidden danger. They are the enemy within. We can also have a phrase, and this is a great phrase, a good phrase. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. It allows you then to observe them, to watch them, to keep an eye on them. You have their trust. Even though you know they are your enemy, you keep them nearby, you keep them close. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And then you can watch them. You can observe what they are doing. So I think it's a very interesting word, a small word, but just like many words in English, the small words are often the most interesting. They are the most interesting things because they quite often have a lot of meaning. Yes, quite often in politics, you can have an enemy of the state or an enemy of the people, a person who is seen as being dangerous to that particular society. It can happen. We are coming towards the end of today's live stream, and it's been an interesting one. It's very hot in the studio. I'm looking forward to going outside and enjoying some of the beautiful sights of the area in which I live, because I always feel very lucky to be living where I live, because we have lots of lovely places to visit. And that's what we're doing over the next few days. We will be going out and visiting some nice places, making the most of life. Every day is a gift. Every new day is a gift. That is why we call it the present. You've probably heard that before. I apologise for repeating it. Catch you again, and I will be going in a moment. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. We are taking a break from the live streams for a while. I will not be on next Sunday or the Sunday after, or quite a while, in fact. So I hope you have a great July. I hope you enjoy this month. Whatever you are doing, have fun. I might do a live stream for my birthday, because my birthday is coming up in August. But I hope you have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. And of course, until the next time we meet, quite likely on video, because I will still be making some videos, both here on YouTube and also on TikTok. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day and your month, and quite possibly the year. And I will see you again. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of the English language, saying thanks for watching me. It does mean a lot for those who have been watching. Thank you very much. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now. See you around.